What's up, Guardians? Profane here. Thanks for checking out the video. Today we're taking a look at another Warlock build, and to be specific, the ultimate Master Healer Warlock build. This one has really become my favorite Warlock build to run, especially in in-game content. I absolutely love this build, and I really think that if you've yet to give the Boots of Assembler a try, you'll be just as pleasantly surprised as I was. I'll be honest with you, before checking out the Boots of the Assembler, when I thought of a supreme healing Warlock, I would first think of a build featuring the Stag exotic helmet, but no longer is that the case. After playing around with this build, it really puts the Stag to shame. And with that being said, I'm going to be showing you guys how to build the ultimate Master Healer build featuring the Boots of the Assembler. Before we dive into today's build, if you end up enjoying the video, find it helpful, then please be sure to hit that like button below along with the subscribe button if you're new. Both are greatly appreciated and both really help the channel grow, especially through the chaos that is the YouTube algorithm. The Boots of the Assembler come with a very unique intrinsic trait called Blessing of Order, a trait that was created to synergize and replicate the mechanics of the Lumina exotic hand cannon. While we might focus pretty heavily on the use of the Lumina with this build, it is in no way a necessity to run with the Boots of the Assembler. Blessing of Order creates Noble Seeker rounds whenever casting your Rift, and every 5 seconds after that until your Rift is gone. These noble rounds seek out and find allies who are within a 35-meter radius, applying a buff based on what type of rift you're using. If you're using a healing rift, those noble seekers will heal your allies for 75 health points each and every time, and will kickstart their health regeneration. If using an empowering rift, those seekers will give you and your allies a 15% damage boost for 5 seconds each time a noble round reaches an ally. While standing in your rift, each time a noble round reaches an ally, your rift duration is extended by 5 seconds. The amount of noble rounds created will be determined based on your fire team size, with 1 being the minimum. When in raids or other 6-man activities, you'll have 5 noble rounds. Noble rounds can even be triggered by other Warlock's rifts. When the Boots of Assembler are paired up with Lumina, Lumina will receive a 30-point increase in airborne effectiveness, which is one of the many reasons these two exotics synergize so well. Lumina comes with a very similar set of intrinsic traits called Noble Rounds and Blessing of the Sky, which both work extremely well in conjunction with the Boots of Assembler. After kills with Lumina, remnants are left behind at the target's death. Once unlocking its catalyst, Lumina will create 2 remnants rather than 1. When absorbing these remnants, you generate noble rounds that are fired off from hipfire. These noble rounds seek out allies just as Boots of the Assembler do. When you collect a remnant, your magazine will be partially refilled, and when noble rounds strike your allies, both you and your ally will receive a damage bonus of 15% for a total of 11 seconds, along with a healing buff of 95 points. Unfortunately, the 2 damage bonuses provided between Boots of Assembler and Lumina will not stack, but the healing buffs currently will. So I find it best when running the 2 exotics together, utilize Healing Rift and let Lumina's noble rounds provide the extended damage buff, while the Boots of Assembler provide healing. Lumina can carry up to 5 total noble rounds, which can be consumed from the noble rounds created by the Boots of Assembler. When running a solar build that features the Ember of Benevolence fragment, Lumina will activate its ability to increase grenade, melee, and class ability regeneration both for you and your ally for a short duration, which can be a big game changer in those challenging activities like raids and grandmasters. But like I said before, this build is not reliant on Lumina, but by this point you can surely see how impactful this exotic can be. While Boots of the Assembler can work with any class type, I found that it just feels best with a Well of Radiance solar build. Here you can exercise the true power of a Master Healer, and to embody that spirit, we're using Touch of Flame for 2 big reasons. Touch of Flame gives all of your grenade improved functionality, including healing grenade, which get improved restoration and cure effects. which will really help go the extra mile at keeping you and your team alive, no matter how bad the situation is. On a more offensive front, Touch of Flame gives your fusion grenades an extra explosion and elongate the duration of solar grenade, giving you some big advantages in damage output when you have Noble Seekers buffing that damage further. We're also using Heat Rises, allowing you to consume your grenade, creating a burst of healing energy, both for you and your ally. Consuming healing grenades grants grants improved effects. Along with significantly improved lift in your jumps, Heat Rises provides a passive benefit of being able to use weapons, throw grenades, and use charged melees while maintaining your jump and hovering movements. While Heat Rises is active, any kills while airborne will create additional melee energy, which even kills while just hopping will count as airborne. Since our main focus here is generating noble rounds, we need to use solar fragments that are going to help get our rift back as soon as possible. So with that in mind, we're using the aforementioned Ember of Benevolence fragment, along with Ember of Singeing. Your class ability recharges faster when you scorch targets. This is something to keep in mind later when selecting weapon loadouts, but for now, this is going to pair up nicely with Ember of Char. This will give you 10 points in Discipline and cause Solar Ignition to spread Scorch to nearby targets, ultimately returning class ability much more frequently. Using Ember of Torches will be great to pair up with your melee to give you and your allies Radiance, which buffs weapon damage, but keep in mind that you can only have one damage buff, and if running Empowering Noble Round or Lumina, the effects of one will be cancelled by the other. If this is the case, I suggest running Ember of Wonder, giving you 10 extra points of resilience, along with the ability to create orbs of power off of those ignition kills, which is going to help you get supers and abilities faster. In terms of mods that you're going to want to run with this build, we're starting with the Void Helmet mod called Dynamo. Warlocks get the most benefit out of this mod, receiving 5% super energy when casting your rift near enemies that are within 15 meters. Even with bare minimum intellect, you're going to see yourself getting your super back extremely often with the use of Dynamo. And considering Well of Radiance is the fastest recharging super, it's great for Warlock. You'll receive 8% for the use of 2 Dynamos, but since this build is about more than just Dynamo, we're going to be using other mods, starting with the Void Arms mod called Bolstering Detonation, which grants 25% class ability back when damaging enemies with grenade, and you get 35% when using 2 of these mods. This is really going to add to your ability to rejuvenate your abilities quickly. That way you can support your team much more efficiently. We're going with Harmonic Siphon, which will create orbs after rapid solar weapon kills. There's several strong weapons in the sandbox currently that will work really well with this build. Most of them do include Incandescent. Weapons like the Whistling Stride Bow, the Staccato Scout Rifle, Callus Mini Tool, the Lubrae's Ruined Glaive, the Without Remorse Shotgun, or even the Retraced Path Solar Trace Rifle. All of these can pair up wonderfully alongside Lumina, or a number of other top tier exotics like Witherhoard, Lament, Galahorn, or Traveler's Chosen, just to name a few. The biggest factor in your decision is your ability to create Scorch and cause ignitions. Since you'll be creating plenty of orbs, it's important to cash in on that fact, so we're using Insulation. This Void Legs mod reduces ability cooldown each time you pick up an orb, and you can add to your own health regeneration by throwing on Better Already, which will trigger health regeneration whenever you collect an orb. We'll also be using the Taking Charge mod, which will charge us with light whenever collecting an orb. So now we have the ability to add some real spice to the mix here, because now we can utilize mods like Energy Converter. This Void mod comes with a 10-point reduction in Discipline, but it grants 5.7% super energy whenever using your grenade while charged with light. It consumes all stacks of charge with light in the process. The more stacks, the more gain, up to 40% for 5 stacks. If running the Lumina, I find it best to throw on Precision Charge as well. This Void mod will charge you with light for rapid kills with a hand cannon, scout rifle, or bow, and provides you with additional ways to stay charged with light. Since this build revolves around supporting and healing your team, I find it best to run either the Radiant Light or Powerful Friends Arc mod. Either of these are great at boosting your stat, and both provide amazing benefits that will help your team. You have to be sure to run these with another Arc mod to receive their passive benefit. Add on High Fire Energy and you'll add on the ability to have increased weapon damage whenever picking up an orb, which can be a great supplement for times when you might not be using or creating your rift to get those noble rounds. And last but certainly not least, one of the most beneficial mods to this build, Utility Kickstart. This Stasis class item mod will grant you a bump in class ability energy whenever that energy is expended. When using one of these mods, you'll receive 15% energy and 25 when using 2. As you're putting together the armor for this build, you want to keep in mind that recovery not only dictates how quickly your health comes back, but how quickly your rift energy recharges. So having 100 recovery should be your goal, along with discipline, so that you can have optimal grenade recharge. When you find yourself in challenging arenas like Grandmasters and Raid, having resilience that exceeds 70 is preferred, but certainly not something you want to see below 50. Otherwise, the use of these mods should more than make up for a few shortcomings in the stat, and will certainly provide you with a top tier Warlock build that truly embodies the spirit of a master Warlock healer. With that being said, I highly encourage you all to put this build together for yourselves and let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll be dropping a Destiny item manager link for this build in the description below, so be sure to hit that up before you leave. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the boots of the Assembler, the Lumina, and this Warlock build, so let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you as always for checking out today's video. If you enjoyed and found it helpful, then please be sure to help support the channel below by hitting that like button along with the subscribe button if you're new. Both are greatly appreciated, and both really do help support the channel. If you're in need of any help throughout this season, maybe with a raid, a dungeon, a nightfall, or anything else, then be sure to check out the Discord link in the description below and join one of the greatest communities in all of Destiny. And until next time, Guardians, this has been Profane, wishing you all some happy hunting.